This creepy footage, shot in Portugal, of a strange beast that has some wondering if the chupacabra is actually real, and if this footage is finally proof of its existence. What's the chupacabra? According to Wikipedia, the chupacabra is a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas, with its first purported sighting reported in Puerto Rico. Chupacabra literally translates to goat sucker in Spanish, so when this creature was caught hunkering through the desert, it certainly turned some heads. The clip only lasts a few seconds before the odd mannish creature disappears behind a bush. Some see the video as definitive proof that the chupacabra is real, while others question the video's authenticity. Still others believe it's not the chupacabra. It's just your average everyday CGI. Whatever the case, it has been viewed thousands of times, so it certainly struck up interest. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Ding Dong Dingle Dude. This redditor wrote, "My friend and I saw this weird floating structure in the sky. Has anyone else seen something like this before?" Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
What the Dude, that's just floating up there in this f***ing sky. What the f***? What the f***? It f***ing flashed. Oh my, what? Dude, are you recording?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Mountain Aviator 1 wrote, "That is the mysterious radio tower. It's obstructed by clouds. Well, the Triple B thinks it's a weather balloon. What do you think this object is? Let me know in the comments." A TikToker named Gallagher is from Jersey checks up on his child when he notices a second small head facing the opposite way and looking up. Its features vacant and half deformed. He rushes into the room and in his rage says he'll put an end to the spirit and calls it a name.
You son of a
Which I'm not sure was the best approach to take considering it had such easy access to his child. Look at this alleged ghost sighting again up close. It doesn't really look like a blanket or a toy to me, but I could be wrong. He never does show us the crib, but I guess he never figured out what it was since he went ahead and uploaded this strange video for us to analyze. Two friends hear something large running across the roof of their home, so one grabs a camera and bravely heads into the night. He scans the rooftop with his flashlight and the beam floats across the oversized pink head of a wild creature that has no fur.
Wait a minute. Hey!
He climbs onto the roof to get a better look at the creature, but when he gets up there, it's gone. Little does he know that it is stalking him from an unseen vantage point the entire time.
Where did it go?
The crouching humanoid looks to be half the size of a normal person. It regards him with cold, beady eyes that are low and close together like those of a wild animal. Zoom in and you'll see that this is either CGI or a real creature. The skin is way too tight to be a mask. Many say that this is the Rake, a pale, mythological creature that attacks without warning. Let me know what you think this is, and if this person was moments away from being a goner. When you reach the end of the road, you better just turn around, otherwise this can happen. Posted by TikToker Sharpski. The TikToker may have escaped something life-ending at the end of the road. In the clip, Sharpski is traveling down a dirt road in a field at night. As the group drives on, they see a group aligned in a formation at the end of the field. They say the figures look like they have heads. They conclude that they are people and urge the driver to turn around. If they are people, what are they doing at the edge of a forest at night? Well, some in the comments, like TikToker Chris Michael, think these are simply dual targets at an open range. Others require further proof. Neen writes, "Keep driving. I want to see from the safe distance of my phone." But since the cameraman wouldn't have that luxury, I'm not sure if he'd be willing to risk it all for us to find out what's really happening here. A YouTube channel called The Scories has been receiving constant harassment from Project Zorgo for some time now. Nobody knows exactly what Project Zorgo wants from them. So they teamed up with some other YouTubers who have been targeted as well to get to the bottom of the situation. It isn't long before they find a mysterious folder on their laptop that none of them have ever seen before. Obviously, it was placed there recently by somebody who wanted it to be discovered. The title of the folder is simply called Hacker. They are afraid to click on the folder at first, but finally they decide that it must be done if they want to solve anything. Inside are a bunch of aerial photos taken of them a long time ago.
That is
Dude, that was
so
us vlogging.
weird. No,
That's
that's
so weird.
literally we're vlogging
so
right
weird.
there. Look, it's moving, it's moving, it's
Wait,
moving.
what?
If this is real, then it's clear Project Zorgo has been watching them for quite some time. As if this wasn't enough, Project Zorgo has since demonstrated its ability to take complete control over their channel whenever they want.
We have successfully taken control of the Stories channel. You will only be able to watch the videos we allow you to watch.
Exactly what Project Zorgo has in store for this channel is anyone's guess, but based on their past activity, I doubt it's anything good. Amanda Castillo uploaded a video to YouTube of her being stuck in a traffic jam on a busy highway near Chino Hill. Usually in a traffic jam like this, it can be quite boring as you have nothing to do but to simply wait until the backup slowly starts to ease up and you can continue driving. But that day, Amanda saw something that definitely caught her attention. Right here. And what this uploader is claiming is that this is a bird that has passed away and is just floating in the air. And I do kind of see that outline that they're talking about. I mean, whatever this is, bird or not, it still looks like something that shouldn't be just floating in the air like it is. And it looks like whatever it is, it's floating fast as well, like it's clearly moving. This is one of the very few videos I have seen recently that I honestly have no explanation for what is happening. It looks like a bird is simply floating in midair above this busy highway, but that obviously cannot be possible. However, it looks like this is exactly what is happening here. A commenter on Amanda's videos claims to have also been on the same highway that day at around the same time, and he claims that he saw the bird too and assures people that there was no visible string anywhere attached to the bird. So what could have possibly caused this? Is this really a bird or something else? I'm curious to hear your theories on this one. It's 3 a.m. when this home security camera catches something weird on video. At 5 seconds, you can see strands of a spider web, but that's not what I'm talking about. 6 seconds later, a bug breaks free of the web. It looks normal in flight, and only when it lands on the doorbell camera does it look kind of humanoid, like it might not be a bug after all. Tell me if you can see a vaguely human outline here at 13 seconds, or if you think this 3 a.m. sighting is nothing more than an overactive imagination. In January of 2018, this emergency message was broadcasted to everyone in the entire state of Hawaii.
A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
What's more alarming is how everyone seems to ignore the emergency directions that are instructing them to pull over. Bethany and the vehicle in front of her continue to drive, even when told by the radio to stop, although to be completely fair, they could have been on a one-lane road with nowhere safe to pull over.
If you are driving, pull safely to the side of the road and seek shelter in a building or lay on the floor. We will announce when the threat has ended.
The broadcast puts the entire island into a panic, and I feel like this live stream video summarizes everyone's reaction perfectly. The first stage is a sort of disbelief and the need to confirm it's really happening.
Oh gosh, what happened? Did you guys get that? Did you not get that? What is it? There's an emergency ballistic missile threat.
The next stage is acceptance that this is real, which leads to scrambling for a plan, even in the face of total obliteration.
Oh my god! What do we do?
And the final stage is panicking at the realization that all hope is lost, that your life is about to truly end. The urge to run somewhere, anywhere, sets in even though it's clear nothing can be done.
Babe, what do we do?
As it turns out, this broadcast was a major mistake made by staff at a military command post. There was nothing this time, but based on these videos and countless others, I don't think we would really do as well as we would like to think in the face of an actual catastrophe. We've seen 30 East Drive here on Chills before. It's considered one of the most haunted places on Earth. This time, it's the Ouija brothers' turn to meet the evil entity that resides here.
You still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
That was definitely a knock. You can also hear it in the hallway.
If you still want to contact us? It's a little knock.
Later, while they're on the stairs, they hear another loud bump.
What was that? From where?
Gotta be with me.
It was in this. It felt like he was under there.
They hear something again on the landing. Later, while they're all sleeping, their Steadicam captures more knocking. Others in the comments say they've visited 30 East Drive and heard similar noises. I'm not on the fence with this one. This place is haunted, and though the activity was subtle on this one, combined with other evidence of Fred the Ghost, I believe it. This dirt road has its own security guard. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in February of 2021, a team faces off with a mysterious figure on a deserted road. As they drive in the middle of the night, wolves are howling all around. The atmosphere is unsettling. As they turn a corner and head down a hill, a figure in a black robe is captured up ahead in the headlights. Wearing a hood that blocks their face, the figure starts to slowly walk toward the vehicle, which backs up in response. The figure continues to approach the vehicle even after it's reversed far enough to not be a threat. While many in the comments are saying the figure was likely not a ghost, since it casts a shadow, others are calling the footage scary and dangerous regardless. If not a ghost, who is this person and what do they want? Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018. This image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. when a YouTuber named Dre Nation is walking home at 3 a.m. in his native country of Jamaica. He begins to worry about what could happen to him at such a late hour, so he starts recording a video to make himself feel safer. The road he is on is not well lit at all except for the occasional street lamp, and most of the video is nothing but darkness. Few people are up to any good at this hour, and every passing car fills him with dread. After marching through the night for some time, Dre senses something watching him from afar. He spins around and thinks he sees something, though I don't think it shows up on camera. Let me know if you see something under the street lamps in the distance.
So where I come from the... What's that?
Soon he hears a pack of stray dogs barking from far away.
I'm so scared.
It sounds like they are gaining on him, but it's impossible to tell how many of them there are or how close they are because he is now fleeing down the darkest part of the road. He doesn't want to trip over something and snap an ankle while running full speed in the pitch black night, so he isn't fast enough and eventually they catch up with him. Thankfully, the dogs turn out to be too small to do much of anything, but that doesn't stop them from giving him an awful fright. He eventually composes himself and completes the rest of the way home. Security cameras often capture things we'd rather not see. This footage, posted by Redditor JHood3119, reveals a creepy looking creature ambling in the vicinity of this upstate New York security camera. A friend installed a security camera because his dog kept freaking out for no reason, J-Hood writes. And it seems the dog was freaking out for a reason. As you can see, a figure passes into view, moving strangely and seemingly wearing a headlamp and holding a flashlight. But then halfway across the snow-packed yard, the figure completely vanishes, although a flashlight beam still appears at the right side of the screen. What could this be? Well, some in the comments of this thread consider the possibility of the supernatural, saying the figure's strange walking and eye shine is creepy and inhuman. But others are not having it. Human or paranormal, what do you think? Based on the dog's reaction, there's definitely something there. A YouTuber named Cooper Mackey says he has been hearing weird laughing voices around his house lately and his sister has been acting really bizarre. So he grabs the camera and starts recording. It isn't long until his sister stops talking and slips into another one of her strange trances.
You can stop, okay? Okay?
She briefly snaps out of it for a couple of minutes and then goes back under.
God. Oh my god. Shay, please.
This time she wakes up and remembers nothing. The way I see it, this has to be one of three possibilities. Either all of this is just acting, a real medical disorder, or an actual possession. Based on what I've seen, it's probably only a matter of time before something like this happens again. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W-R-T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want us to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright, let's go.
A laughing child runs from one room to another and something horrifying seems to playfully chase her. The shifting shadow follows closely behind and then disappears as quickly as it came. Some people say that this is just a bug on the lens, but I don't think so. Look again and you'll see the formless blob squeezes itself directly around the corner. I have heard of spirits sometimes befriending a child before possessing them. Hopefully that's not the case here, but whatever this is, I sure wouldn't want it anywhere near myself or my family. An encounter with a lady in white might seem harmless, but this one is 100% impure. This scary video was originally published by Exploring with Danny. As Danny is exploring a wooded area, he remarks that he saw something that has completely vanished.
And the last time I was here, there was a demon here. I was faced with a demon. And this is the location right here. Now, I am going to show you.
He shouts into the darkness, and that's when you see that something has not completely vanished at all. A black-haired figure with a pale face lurks just out of sight. When Danny zooms in, you can see that the female figure is making its way toward him out of the mouth of a tunnel.
Hello? He's just right there. Hello? Are you okay? Hello?
The figure climbs out of the darkness, her dirty white dress getting dirtier, while Danny commands her to stay back. She doesn't listen.
In the name of Jesus, I command you to stay back, right now. Stay right back.
Danny turns around to make a run for it, but the figure continues to stalk him, climbing up a hill and creeping toward him.
Stay back, I'm warning you. Jesus, I command you to stay away.
What is this evil, and what does she want with Danny? He'd better escape before she pulls him back down into her lair.
What the
A ghost hunting team led by paranormal investigator Lavina goes exploring a haunted chapel in Dixon, Oklahoma, or they try to at least. Getting into the haunted place is not as easy as it would seem.
What the?
She went to open that door and it came back on her.
At 42 seconds, one of the investigators opens the door a crack and it slams back with an unreasonable amount of force. Something from the other side, something paranormal perhaps, does not want them to go any further. They take the hint and don't stay for much longer, but apparently something has no problem opening up their door and coming with them for the ride home, as evidenced by this paranormal activity caught on their ghost meter equipment.
Is there a speaker following us?
Oh my.
Their paranormal equipment flips out when she gets stern with the supernatural.
You need to leave now.
He said no.
Lavina must have asked too many questions because soon she goes into a trance-like state and begins to nod even though she was very active and alert moments ago. She stares at them with an expression they do not like or recognize. As they wrestle the ghost meter out of her hands, her eyes are not how they've ever seen before.
Lavina.
Give me
We gotta go. Look, we need to go.
Give me that. Give me that thing.
Even she does not recognize herself. Tell me if you think they're acting or not.
You see it? Oh my eyes are like glowing.
Yeah. Like a bloodshot.
I am more skeptical, except faking this part doesn't explain the door slamming shut by itself, or the ghost meter responding to their specific questions in real time. With that in mind, I think this paranormal investigation might be real. The evidence was probably not worth it in the long run, considered they may have inadvertently forged a spiritual attachment to something beyond the grave. This father and son paranormal team is about to check into a haunted hotel, published by Paranormal Boys in December of 2021. When they first enter, they find everything in disarray. They sit down around the table, and it sounds like something has joined them. As they're using their paranormal devices, they hear a strange breathing sound, and then another unexplained noise.
Oh, whoa, did you hear that? No?
Has someone taken a room at this haunted hotel? If so, they may never leave. A paranormal investigator named Jeff Stetik's world walks into an abandoned house through a door that was kicked open long ago. An old woman once lived here, and all of her possessions are still inside, mostly various clothing items and trinkets, and quite a few photos. He is looking at 2 black and white pictures of a boy, perhaps a grandchild or a son, when he hears a faint sound coming from further down the hall.
What was that?
He detects nothing with his untrained eye, but as his camera adjusts to the darkness, it does pick up a small outline pressed up against the wall. Perhaps the very same boy in the pictures he was just observing. All of this escapes him as he calmly exits, completely unaware of the boy cloaked darkness just one room away. A 4-year-old is happily drinking his juice until for some reason the straw stops working. His protective parents get a bad feeling and curiously inspect the package to see what's wrong.
And this is what it's inside. Nasty.
A thick green clump of sludge clings to the bottom and blocks the straw. Slowly, they realize their child has been unknowingly sucking on what could be a giant floating piece of moldy gel. As if that wasn't bad enough, the father flips it over with a straw to reveal an even worse looking underside.
Ew. Oh my god.
Again. Look at that.
The alien-looking growth is probably loaded with bacteria and far from safe to consume. So if you've ever been enjoying a packaged drink and the straw stopped working, I guess you now know a reason why. Published in April 2017 by Steve Cody, this video allegedly shows a ghost haunting a swimming pool. In the description, Steve writes, "I noticed my camera picked up motion around my pool about a week ago. After midnight, I watched the whole video with my wife, and there's a ghost or something floating over the pool. He said it lingered there for several minutes. The video does in fact show a light floating over his dark swimming pool at night. It just hovers in the top right corner of the screen, bouncing back and forth a bit. So what is it? A luminous ghost? A ghost holding something luminous, whatever it is. Don't go in the water. We've all been there. It's a stormy night. Every sound in the house is an evil entity vying for your soul. That must have been what this man was feeling when he saw this happen in his dining room on a stormy night. The clip shows a man enter his dining room, which appears completely normal. Every chair in place. He enters his laundry room, then casts the camera down the stairs. It appears that something must have happened to cause him to search his house. He says hello down the stairs. Is someone or something there? He decides to go into his basement to investigate. The wooden steps are incredibly rickety. As he's nearing the bottom, a terrifying racket is heard upstairs. He runs for his life, only to find his kitchen chairs precariously stacked up, balanced one on top of the other. The dining room light is swinging around. The shot is still, as the man crosses the room and stands frozen in fear at this ominous sight. The overhead light continues to swing, and nothing is there. There's something especially uneasy about the stacking of this man's furniture. Part of that uneasiness comes from the fact that no human could have done this particular building job in the short period of time that the man was away. Who do you think did it? Or what? A YouTuber named RJ32 is at the beach in Southern California when one of his kids sees a fast-moving round creature in the clear water. Watch this part and give me your best guess as to what this could be. And don't worry if you can't tell yet, because you and he are about to get a much closer look. RJ32 curiously walks over to where he last saw what he thinks was a flounder and starts kicking around. Panic sets in as he realizes he's uncovered a stingray that was trying its best to hide from him in the sand. I don't think the stingray is full grown, but take a closer look and tell me if I'm wrong. Mature or not, the tail seems like just the right size to go through your foot if you aren't careful. RJ32 gets a quick warning jab and is sent limping to the beach. If this is what a baby can do, I wouldn't like to see the work of an adult. This strange and scary reflection looks like someone is staring straight into the window of a YouTuber named Hatchet TV. It's dark outside and there's absolutely no light, so exactly how this reflection is able to appear in the first place is a mystery. Look up close and you can make out an oversized and misshapen head with a large nose and ghoulish frown.
I see it right there. That's crazy. Turn on the light.
At first I thought this video was obviously fake because he was recording his own reflection, but when Hatchet TV turns on the lights and steps back, the face is still there. I have no other explanation besides the paranormal. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this redditor wrote, "The haunted Frank Lloyd Wright house in Florida. This place has always been active. Check out the full video over on our YouTube channel. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
I just watched an orb fly by toward you. What was that? What was that?
I heard something.
That sounded like it was in the kitchen. That sounded like it was on top of the roof. Guys, there's something here with us. We are not alone. We can hear you walking. What is that?
I heard something.
Well, it certainly seems like the spirits that reside in this home are active. I guess it really makes no difference who the architect of a home is in the eyes of a spirit. My theory is the spirits here are trying to scare this paranormal team into never returning again. This clip is making waves in the Spanish YouTube community, and it's clear to see why. This associated image was posted in July of 2020 by YouTuber Curious Area, and at first, this footage seems like nothing more than your average nighttime drive. Spooky lights, empty streets, no one around. That is, until this creepy oblong figure emerges standing on the side of the road. As the car drives slowly past, the figure doesn't move from near the crosswalk. You can't make out its face or any details of its visage, but it does appear to be wearing a long robe. Would this get your heart pumping, or are your nerves made of steel? A father and son ghost hunting team are at an old graveyard somewhere in the south. They stumble upon a child's tombstone and get to work. The son attempts to communicate with the passed on child by planting an old pinwheel in the ground.
If there's a child out here that wants to play with this toy, feel free to make it move.
The father says that there is absolutely no wind on this night, so the pinwheel should not be able to move. To prove there is no wind, he records a tall blade of grass next to the tombstone and clearly shows that it's not moving. This child's gravestone is from the late 1800s. Pinwheels were probably very popular during this time, so it makes sense that the spirit would be excited and ready to play. Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own, and the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if he were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting, paranormal activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still, the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. It's midnight when a YouTuber named Porter decides to go exploring some abandoned places near his house in hopes of capturing something scary on video. He and his friends have gone exploring these places in the past, and nothing's wrong before, but exploring abandoned places can always go wrong at a moment's notice, as he and his crew are about to discover. This urban exploration video is never meant to be a paranormal investigation, but soon they come across a tunnel that looks like it could be haunted. As they are exploring the tunnel, they come across a barrel that's been eaten away by corrosive chemicals. Large holes mark where a mysterious substance leaked out, and the old yellow caution tape they've caught on camera is a frightening moment to say the least. They should probably get out of there fast because, aside from being creepy and maybe haunted, the tunnel air is almost certainly not safe to breathe, at least not with this barrel around. They instead keep exploring until a cave-in doesn't allow them to go any further. They finally leave because the section they're in could collapse too, each of them passing by the mysterious barrel one more time on the way out. They wander through the scary woods for a while and eventually come across another eerie passageway that Porter decides not to explore because they're still creeped out about being too close to a possibly radioactive barrel or whatever that was. They should have gone back by now, but they've come all the way here to go exploring an abandoned building, and apparently not enough has gone wrong to make them stop.
We're gonna check out the other building for a little bit, that's it.
They approach the building, but something else grabs their attention, a mysterious hole in the ground.
No, we've already seen that, like during the day.
It's like an entrance way.
No, it's, oh no, I did not see that.
As they peer inside, all they find is more yellow caution tape and a putrid stench that makes them feel nauseous. They aren't sure what this place is, but it's clear to me that this opening was once covered by a manhole. This is an abandoned sewer pipe that's filled with toxic fumes from bacteria and industrial waste. They aren't feeling too good, but the building is right there, so they decide to take a quick peek. It's beyond creepy inside, and they are inching towards the back when this happens.
Huh? Let's go.
A scary voice whispers at them in the darkness and the urban exploration comes to an end. Later, they try not to get caught making a video at the hospital. You can tell it's real because there's hospital equipment beeping and nurses talking in the background.
We had to come to the ER for Braden. Actually got in the car and recorded for a little bit on the way home. he started to get a lot of pain like near his heart, so.
His friend is okay, but they aren't sure if it was from breathing chemicals or a ghost, and this video has gone about as wrong as it gets.
A girl stacks cups while her siblings watch, but apparently something else is watching too, as a little doll rises up for a closer look. The way it sits up looks like somebody has to be hiding behind the television, but it doesn't look like there's enough space for anybody to comfortably fit behind, not even a child. Maybe they ran something through the back of the cabinet to make the doll sit up. If that's not the case, then I think it's probably time to board up that room and sell the house.
This small outpost, known only as the Black Mailbox, is one of the many classic mysteries of Area 51. It is actually 2 containers stacked on top of each other as shown here. One day while filming the Black Mailbox site at random, a nondescript white car with heavily tinted windows pulls up and unlocks it. They totally ignore the fact that they are being recorded, which is something all personnel from Area 51 seem to be trained to do. Meanwhile, whoever is recording decides not to approach any closer, most likely because they thought it was a government vehicle on official business. The camera person sticks around for about half a minute longer, before presumably getting out of there fast. The historic Jefferson Hotel is a hotbed for paranormal activity, and this is one of the creepiest pieces of evidence yet. Published by the hotel in March of 2021, a security camera captured this incident in one of the hotel's hallways. In the clip, a guest of the hotel is seen looking for her husband. She asks a couple walking by if they've seen him. As they're talking, a deep guttural growl is heard. They all hear it and jump back. You can see their reaction here.
All jumped back as if something was like yelling at them down the hall. You could see they were all scared.
The couple walks away, while the first guest is left alone with whatever made this noise. The hotel's caretaker says that the male guest seen in this video asked him where the speaker was. The man thought the hotel was in the business of ambiance, so had hidden speakers in the floor to add to the haunting atmosphere. The problem is that he was wrong. After being asked this, the caretaker, knowing there weren't any speakers, pulled up video from a second camera at the end of the hallway in the direction of the growl. This is what he found.
So, did you hear that growl?
The growl sounds very animalistic, almost demonic. Is this one of the many demons that haunt the halls of the Jefferson? Or is someone playing tricks? Does this sink need a plumber or a priest? Watch this video and tell me if this paranormal activity is real or just a creepy plumbing problem. There's no motion sensor on this sink, and yet the water somehow turns off on its own, like someone is standing right there. I want to know if this workplace bathroom is as haunted as Tom Cunnington claims. I did some research online, and it looks like it might just need a valve replacement, but I was hoping someone with plumbing experience could tell me if this was the case. If so, hopefully we can put Tom's mind at ease, because I think these scary moments caught on camera have been really freaking him out. A scary moment is caught on live TV for this Polish reporter who steps away from some screens and almost takes himself out. He's probably a few feet off the ground, which is a lot higher up than it sounds when you're free falling backwards. Fortunately, he recovers and keeps going with the story like a pro. Bryce Newbold describes this Ohio hiking experience through the Shawnee State Forest as a very rough trip, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. It's a hot summer's day and he has many miles ahead. By 4 miles, he is drenched and walks about half a mile to drink from the river. His next source of water won't be until nightfall, and by then he will have walked 12 miles. By the second day, he is feeling unusually miserable and drained, and decides to take a shorter route.
I am absolutely covered in either little tiny ticks or chiggers. They're probably chiggers. They are all over me right now. I tried washing them off, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go through and pick them off one by one, it looks like.
He's looking pretty pale by the end of the day, even though he's been getting plenty of sun. That's because poor Bryce has been getting his legs chewed off by tiny ticks that won't give up, and by the end of the day it's looking pretty bad.
And I have a million bites from those little chiggers last night. You can see they're still on there.
By the time he gets back home, his legs and feet are covered in marks. I'm not a doctor, but I definitely would be going to one soon if I were him. That looks really bad, and I think it's probably time for a test or two to make sure you didn't get anything from them. I really hope he's okay and that nothing like this ever happens to him again. Valerie Brown posted her dog Ruthie's ghost sighting to YouTube in 2013. She writes in the video description, "She barks incessantly as if someone is in there. Everyone said it's a ghost on Facebook. I'm not into paranormal, but people suggest I post this on YouTube. So here it is." As the video begins, the little dog is barking and growling, its tail wagging as it looks into the living room. No one is there, but the dog seems to be highly alert to some presence in the vicinity. The owner asks her dog who she's barking at, but of course, she just continues barking. Appearing as though she thinks it's obvious who she's barking at, the owner moves into the living room and the dog follows, running around to the front of the sofa. The dog's eyes are focused in on one spot, suggesting the invisible entity must be staying in place. In fact, when the dog moves to the front of the sofa, it seems to be barking at someone who's sitting on the sofa. Only there appears to be exactly 0 people lounging there. The dog runs back to the opposite side of the sofa, and as the owner ends the video by telling Ruthie, again, that there's no one there, the dog barks in disagreement, continuing to appear in high alert. What does Ruthie see? Is it an evil spirit, or is it friendly? My bet is on evil, as she certainly seems to be perturbed by its presence. This list is full of stalkers, and they all seem to have one thing in common. They like to stand still outside people's homes, especially after receiving a note that said, "I'll see you here after 6 p.m. Remember Mr. Slim." A few hours later, he heard someone or something outside his house. Camera in tow, he peered out his upper window. There was a man standing on the sidewalk below, wearing dark colors and what appeared to be a ski mask. As the boy dropped his camera to the left and then returned again back to the stalker, he found that the man had disappeared. So he did exactly what none of us would do. He raced downstairs to go outside and find the stalker, but the man was nowhere to be found. The boy said that he was starting to get worried and debated whether or not to tell his parents. Most in the comment section agree that he should, while others offer more sage advice. Next time, don't go outside. Oftentimes, we see movements out of the corner of our eye, and we think we're imagining things. What if we aren't? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Kid Blast Double. This clip got Redditors up in arms. The video shows someone entering their backyard with their dog, but check out the fence beyond. A shadow figure can clearly be seen fleeting across the yard. It arrives behind the tree and doesn't move beyond. Apart from slightly peeking from around the tree, which can be seen on the close-up of the clip. The top comment was from Redditor Dads for Sons, who said he'd watched the clip on repeat 1,000,000 times, and his first reaction was, "Whoa, the slow-mo gives him the chills," he says. In response, Redditor Paul VS88 points out that the OP, Big Pappy Thunder, said, "Honestly didn't think anyone would get it, or that it would somehow get nearly 7,000 upvotes, but here we are. Figured I'd bamboozle maybe 5 people, then take it down for a laugh." Redditors with a sense of humor had a laugh about it. Tactius Kilgore writes, "The shadow people have him and are in control of his Reddit account. There was one oddity in the video that was unedited, however, the thing peeking, but Thunder thinks that it was more likely a light from far away or from the yard behind than the shadow ghost that he'd edited into the footage. Still, this video will likely have you second guessing the next thing you see out of the corner of your eye. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR Exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hairs stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. The crew from Rhoda X, Investigaso Paranormal, enters a house with many demons. Even before entering, they spot on the roof
Fica homem de preto ali em cima.
Is that a gargoyle? The cameraman then captures this terrifying anomaly in a window. They get a reading on their EMF meter, and energy is near.
Quem que tá com a lanterna aí?
Eu. Aí.
Then one of their paranormal devices jumps off the charts.
Gente, apaga um pouquinho a lanterna. A lanterna, apaga.
Não, escutou aqui do outro lado?
Não.
And it continues to go haywire around their equipment.
Dá licença.
Lastly, this happens.
Que eu tô sentindo uma coisa aqui no meu peito.
Viu o quê? Tu viu? Passou um negócio branco ali, tu viu?
Ah, não.
Passou um negócio branco aqui, tô todo arrepiado aqui.
Também tô arrepiado.
Olha o braço aqui. Passou assim, ó. Ele viu comigo. Foi?
That was obviously a bat, but what about the other creepy captures? This one in particular haunts me. A live streamer named Spetsnaz Boss suspects his house could be haunted. After catching this moment on his channel, he is fully engrossed in the game when the clothing on his door lifts up for no reason at all.
This looks not good. Please, I don't wanna go, please.
The sleeve of his jacket raises in the air, as if to say hi to all of his fans watching. There could be a chance this is staged, especially considering he is coincidentally playing a scary horror game, but maybe his fear is precisely what attracted it. This Redditor was seeing shadows moving from room to room throughout his home. He wanted to capture the phenomenon on video, so he set up a security camera. This is what he found. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by GusBR89, the Redditor asks fellow Redditors to explain the following two surveillance videos. The first video shows a strange light anomaly coupled with a shadow distortion. The second video is taken that same evening and shows an orb float across the screen. Most assume the orb is dust, but others are curious about the shadow disturbing the first video. Redditor Cloudette says it looks like an intruder. Well, Yetin admits, it certainly looks like something, though no Redditor really has a clear answer as to what this exactly is. The Redditor says this is not the only paranormal experience he's had in the place. He's heard footsteps, a child's laughter, and even has a witness to one of these shadows passing directly in front of them. While all of this is upsetting, many are more afraid of the doll, and nevertheless this video appears to convincingly show something paranormal. In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away, while the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape, but the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the two others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found. There's a meeting going down inside this office. The only problem? No one attended. Published by Teofilo in August of 2011, this mysterious activity was captured on camera. The video shows what looks like your everyday office, but you soon realize it absolutely isn't. A chair and stool move near simultaneously by themselves. After the chair slows to a standstill, the stool jerks out even further into the aisle. It continues to move, even tilting at one point. It later dives over onto the floor. Is this a ghost meeting gone wrong? Or is some visual trickery happening here? Either way, if you work here, it might be a good idea to call in sick tomorrow. In this video by Nathan Hughes, published this year, the YouTuber's dog Molly is visibly trembling as it stares off into space, huddled in fear on the sofa.
What's wrong? What are you looking at? What is it? Molly? What is it? Are you okay?
When asked if she wants a biscuit, Molly just looks over and goes back to staring and trembling at whatever she's seeing, completely ignoring the biscuit that her owner set on the pillow beside her. She is staring towards the door near the kitchen, shaking nervously, when the owner tells her to eat her treat, nudging it closer to her mouth. She just continues staring in frozen fear. Then the owner walks around the front, facing the dog, asking what she's looking at, but she doesn't move a muscle. He closes the door to see if anyone is standing behind it. No one. Nothing is there. Throughout the entire video, Molly refuses to listen to her owner. Maybe the paranormal vision she saw made her lose her appetite or left her in so much fear that she is unable to move. A YouTuber named Davey Dustin has a channel that is all gameplay videos, except for this one. This is when he and his friend decide to explore no less than 4 old abandoned houses in the spirit of Halloween. Most of the houses are a little more than a series of rusted out rooms, but the final house feels way off. They feel out of place almost as soon as they step in, but they manage to get through a locked door and keep going. Almost immediately, they notice broken glass on the floor stained in red.
Is that blood?
They continue to find more red stains in other rooms and debate whether this is paint or something else more sinister. Orbs are circling all around them now as they investigate deeper into the house. Something is very wrong in this section and they can feel it. Eventually, they discovered a tattered old photograph of a family. It looks to be at least 20 years old, if not more. Maybe they used to live here, and if so, perhaps the red substance on the floor used to belong to them. Things only get worse upon reaching the basement, where a mysterious hole in the wall gives them both a dreadful feeling. A single white tennis shoe is laying just outside the hole, forgotten long ago until this very moment. Maybe the other shoe is buried in the hole. still attached to its owner. You expect to be entertained by Monday Night Football, not frightened, but some people were when they saw a groundskeeper vanish into thin air in the background of the newsfeed. In the footage, Jamie Carragher and Phil Neuville discuss the events of the night while presenting at Sky Sports Studio. Live on air behind them, the TV sets show a groundskeeper at the Stadium of Light seemingly preparing the grounds for the upcoming event or repairing them after the game. As he crosses the field in Sunderland, suddenly he simply vanishes. Those who spotted the figure were aghast. Was this a ghost caught in action on live TV? Some say it may just be overlapping feeds, but others believe what they saw was real paranormal activity. A YouTuber named Conman165 has a somewhat scary moment on his gaming stream while talking about wrestling, something he thinks could be a possible ghost sighting caught on webcam.
During the match. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did anybody else just see that?
A small ghost orb moves his way and disappears, and if you look closely, the ghost orb blinks a little before it hits the middle of the door and goes away. I'm not saying that this ghost orb couldn't be dust, I'm just saying that nothing else like it appeared for the rest of the stream, and it's obviously something he's not used to seeing either based on his reaction.
I saw like this white line run and just like fall down back here. That was weird.
Hopefully Conman165 will keep us updated if any other creepy stuff happens. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on live stream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary live stream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you traveled to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. Dennis of Dark Life is about to encounter an aggressive poltergeist in the house of the witch. His cameras capture everything too. First, something starts messing with the cupboard. The demon then grows a bit more aggressive. He seems to be toying with Dennis. Dennis asks many questions of the spirit, and the spirit responds.
Вас она убила? Она сейчас здесь?
When he asks if the spirit needs help, it answers,
Я могу вам чем-нибудь помочь?
It seems to be following him.
Это вы? Вы сейчас создаете этот звук?
And the knocking gets louder.
Нет.
Again, the spirit reiterates that no one can help him.
Вам кто-нибудь может помочь? Нет.
And finally, Dennis decides that he's in danger and should leave.
Не боюсь, грозит опасность. Да. Искал опасность и делал да. В общем, все, друзья, я сейчас собираюсь, попрощаюсь чуть позже, когда уже уйдут.
It's clear that this malevolent spirit is taking no prisoners. If I were Dennis, I'd get out of there too. Worst nightmare is to be buried alive. This stunt will have you panicking, just like Ryan. Published in May of 2021, Ryan Prunty's stunt saw him buried alive for 51 hours in an attempt to try and break Mr. Beast's world record. Well, in his buried box, Ryan starts panicking and screams the safe word. The team begins the task of unburying his coffin. Which is filled with water and garbage. They aren't moving fast enough for Ryan's taste, and the screws keep getting stripped.
It's stripped, we're getting this off. Yeah, actually. Yeah, Carter stripped both of them. Look. What do you mean, look? I'm in a box!
Finally, they manage to pull off the lid, and Ryan is freed, and I'm sure he was never happier to see the light of day again.
Oh my holy moly. You alright, buddy? Man, dude, you make a mess. We leave you down here for 25 hours and you leave it looking like this?
What is that, dude?
A single strange light in the sky has a YouTuber named Jesse Tablebeast looking up with curiosity and horror.
Yeah, it's definitely flying, whatever it is.
He and his friend decide to drive towards this strange blinking light and investigate what it could be. This still image taken at 4 minutes and 58 seconds gives us a better look at it. A disc-like object floating in the air. There's an intense light coming from the bottom and also a small circular dome on top. They don't know what it is, and neither does anyone else. A minute later, they are at the source of the light, which is much larger now but still just as unexplained. They think the light is coming from a nearby power plant, but it's too dark and rainy to tell, so they go home without knowing for certain. This light, while bizarre, might be from a busted power generator, but if that were the case, then you'd think the light would be low to the ground and constant. The light is high in the air. Tell me what you think it is.
Watch how this ghost is working out. It's moving by itself, just like somebody's sitting there.
This outdoor workout station is moving all by itself, or so it seems. I think someone could be moving it with wires off camera. At the beginning, he shows this zoomed in shot, but it's vertical, so there's plenty we can't see. I'm not saying this video isn't real. I'm just saying I would be more convinced if he showed the entire street to prove that no one else was around. While wandering through a graveyard in the darkness of night, this pair of daredevils met with the other side. Watch this clip closely. Did you see that? Something whipped through the air. Watch to the left of the flashlight beam. The YouTuber says that he and his friend were the only ones in the graveyard at the time. No one was smoking, there was no fog or wind, and at the time he was unaware of the figure. He only saw it when he rewatched the footage later. It looks to me like he could have caught a real apparition sweeping into the afterlife. To me, it gives credence to the idea that cemeteries are really train stations for the spirits, as some paranormal experts suggest. This old VHS footage was taken by construction workers during an interior renovation project in Corpus Christi, Texas. It's daytime and well lit, and the building still has a constant eerie vibe. They claim to have seen the ghost of a girl walking across the property, and the air grew cold around them, even though they are in the south. One of them records this mysterious noise coming from the hallway. It sounds like a moan from behind. Take a listen. He calls out for his friend Tom and picks up a strange whispering noise as he turns.
Hey, Tom!
He pauses outside of an especially dark room and feels watched by a presence within, a force that strips him of his bravery and leaves him small and vulnerable. He sees movements and bolts down the hall. I think I can see the outline of something in the corner here when the room is brightened. Could this be the ghost girl they were talking about? He decides to take one last look in the room and cautiously peeks inside. Rushing footsteps come from within and send him screaming off the job site. While investigating the haunted Bel Air house, Sonny finds that the stories are true. Sonny's experience there gets off to a rocky start. The crew starts to sense things and hear things.
Oh my. What? Oh man, Sonny was coming up.
You cheating? Why you got your light on?
I was trying to come down the steps.
You got your light on too. Y'all up here like a bunch of just turn your light off.
My light is off now. Okay.
And then footsteps.
Came over here. Listen. Sounded like footsteps, but I think maybe picking up Kristen's.
But do they belong to his crew? Or is someone unseen closer than he thinks? Either way, I think it's time to find the exit of this place. A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon. When a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail, it was like eating a fancy.
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold, but it's
Sure, it actually is.
Taken when a team of curious German explorers traveled deep into Africa to talk with a powerful shaman who claimed to have many spiritual gifts. When they asked him to demonstrate what he was capable of to their cameras into the world at large, the shaman, whose name was Ovaku, decided to dazzle them with this maneuver. The tribe chants a mysterious song of celebration and encouragement as Ovaku hangs suspended in midair. This incredible act looks like it's taking a lot of physical strength as well as mental concentration to perform. The shaman is gasping for breath and appears to be struggling hard to stay afloat. When he drops to the ground, he is exhausted and looks like he is about to pass out on the spot. Determining whether this footage is real or not depends on how much you are willing to trust the German explorers. They insist that no lifts or pulleys were used, and they do seem genuinely amazed while filming, but who knows what they were really thinking for sure. I will admit that there doesn't seem to be any strings attached to them during the close-up shots, so maybe the shaman can really levitate. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.